Yeah, winning is pretty cool.
Yeah, Candy Jack in the Twitch chat actually was some really good analysis on this match. You guys may remember him from casting in other weeks. Let me just agree with what he says. What? I'll tell you what.
I'll second that
That's
one.
what. Lars fucks. Just look at this. Lars this is just so clean. This is so easy. This is so free.
Oh,
Look
he
at
dropped
that.
the
You can't
shield.
that. No, I think it shield poked him, and that sets up the
Oh.
big offstage, the big kill. And Lars with another 2-0 tonight as all of our heavy favorites just keep rolling through the competition.
Oh my god. The slaps into the neutral B.
Yeah, this ain't done. So you can tell. Oh, maybe it is.
Never mind. That spike was so hot.
Yeah, we're kind of close. You know, I host an esports event with the stages he wants to see being played, just like I want to see Lars at this top 8, and I will.
Wow.
Incredible win from the People's Champ, and he doesn't cheat his way there. He slices through Duds and KK to do it.
I don't know why you're surprised out there, Twitch chat. Look at the odds. 93%.
Welcome to the 6th episode of Season 5's Baddy Cafe. I'm here with my favorite co-host, Albino Joe. How are you today?
Doing well, man. It was a heck of a week last week. We saw a lot of craziness going on. Specifically, as I'll let you introduce our player of the week. He went cracked, just out of his mind, played insane. No one expected it.
All right. So as a preface, when Joe and I decided to do the Player of the Week segment, we did take an inspiration from him when him and Mekati did this. But the thing was, we wanted to do was to showcase as many players who were performing well as possible, and B, make sure that that's mainly the thing. And we didn't want to repeat players. A lot of times, Alpha Muse always look good this season. We've had players, Candies look fairly good all season. We know these players are good, but we want to be able to recognize players who are, not as, with less shine on them normally. And last week was the first time we had someone go up twice, because Lars, he just looked pretty good. And then last week happened. Again, the process is we don't like to repeat people. Lars is not only the only person to be the showcase player twice, he is now the only person to do it back to back and to do it 3 times, because Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Lars was the most cracked I've ever seen him play. What on earth happened? Like, you think this is an outlier. You think maybe you got lucky. You don't get lucky twice. You don't beat Duds and KK in the same night and not be lucky. And I gotta ask, Joe, do we have our new Overlord of Baddy Smash? Does Alpha Mio be shaking in his boots?
I don't know. I think this is too early to tell, but Lars, he essentially is kind of the Kingslayer right now. He beat Duds, who's the Season 1 champion, and then he beat KK, who I think was the last 2 or 3 seasons of champions
Season
under
3
his
and 4.
belt. Yeah, who won Season 2? Do you remember? Cool-X, that's right, okay. Well, either way, Cool-X isn't around to be slain, so Lars just made do with Duds and KK in one night, within an hour of each other, and just popped off. So he deserves whatever praise he gets out of us and anyone else within the league.
You know how there's like the Lombardi Trophy because Vince Lombardi just had the early dominance of the Super Bowl and NFL Championship era?
Yep.
Do we just call the showcase player the Lars Award?
Maybe next season.
Maybe. But congratulations, Lars. You are an anomaly. You are the story of the season. You're in top 8, and we'll see what you can do from there.
Hell yeah. Well, Hey, Chai. Last week we tried to do the speed recap segment. At least I tried to do the speedy recaps. You kind of kept me on the clock. I figure this week why not give you a try, eh?
Yeah, I'm very wordy, so I don't know if I'll be keeping it under a minute, but that's going to be exciting for me to try. I thought it looked fun watching, listening to you do it. So I think I'm going to give it my best, my college effort, best, give a good swing at it. Do you have a timer with you?
I have a Google timer set to 1 minute and 00 seconds. So, with that said, see how you can do here. So let's just hit this off. On your mark, get set, go. Head Reaver and Salvo.
All right, Head Reaver and Salvo. Head Reaver decided to actually stick to his guns, knowing Salvo he hates fighting swords with a goddamn passion. And although Spring Stadium is the meme stadium, it's the hot choice for all games right now. It's a bad Luigi stage. It's got a high ceiling. It's got ways you can camp out Luigi relatively easy. And Salvo lives and dies by those big moves. He did not get a misfire when he needed it, and his up B did not kill super early as normal because of the fact that Spring Stadium ceiling is just too goddamn high.
Oh wow, that was 30 seconds, Chai.
Yeah, I didn't have much to say about that.
Oh, funny. Well, let's make this let's get this going then. You ready for another?
All right, that's gonna be the outlier, by the way. I think there's gonna be a little bit longer.
Okay. Next, your mark and set, go. AJS Cax.
AJS and Cax. Let everyone be known. Hopefully, Mecha T can come back one day and give us the seminar and stage picks that he's mentioned before. Because stage picks matter. Alamar versus Lucina, FD is not the play. Alamar, like Steve, benefits from Alamar, like Steve, benefits from poor matchup experience. Pikmin attached to a lot of damage. They do a lot of damage. In AJS, something I noticed, he didn't bother to try to get those Pikmin off. He later did adapt to the match when they went to, you guessed it, Spring Stadium Round 2, using Tink instead of Lucina, but he actually bothered to kill Pikmin on that as well. However, he still took a little while to fully adapt, and he lost 0-2. At least he didn't get almost 3-stock like he did in Game 1. Again, stage counter picks matter. Don't let yourself get stuck on a bad stage. We've all been there before. Don't be there again.
All right, 54 seconds on that one. Not bad. KK Blaze, go.
Isabel, really? I know that I've played so many games against Blaze throughout the seasons since he's joined. He's probably the player. Him and Candy and Duds are the players I've played the absolute most with friendlies. He's competitive with a ton of characters in friendlies. Isabel is not one of those, and he was facing KK. Historically, surprise picks are not as great as some think. Reaver and I are definitely biased in that metric. However, it still looks bad. It's still something I don't recommend, especially if you're playing against a top 3 player. PS2 is also a garbage pick. Fun fact, if you're playing against DK, ban PS2. DK has this thing called the DKO, where it's a kill confirm at a very early percent, but it only works on certain stages. Incineroar is the better pick, and the Incineroar was a precursor to KK's loss to Lars, and I'll get to that in a bit.
0. All right. You made it to time on that one. That was pretty good. I do agree, Blaze, my boy, Isabel.
Isabel on PS2 was the worst decision I've seen him ever make.
Big yikes. Unfortunate for him. All right. Next one down the line. Duds versus Lars. Go.
This is the beginning of an era. Dud started off strong game 1, but fell short later. Again, stage picks, they matter. He let Bowser go to Triplats on game 1. Lars bet all of his coin on himself, and he even walked in with biased chaosing. This man had his dick in his hand, and as many people said, this man fucks. Duds had a lot of self-inflicted injuries and actively put himself in negative situations. Lars took advantage of all of it. His Mewtwo is good, but you're playing against Bowser. He is the heaviest character in the game, and he will breathe on you and die, and you will die very, very early. Especially also if your mental is whack like Duds was. A light player against a heavy opponent that kills you early is very, very, very bad decision. Very bad. Duds. This this would have been really, really ugly, and you would have looked really, really shitty if we had not seen what Lars had done later in the night. So you miss the not the biggest L in the world, but you did take a big L.
Time. Whoo. Yeah. Just like when he lost to AJS, Duds is his own worst enemy, unfortunately. All right. Chai,
Yeah, let's go.
don't do me too dirty. Candy Jack versus Albino Joe, go.
In the battle of the B button, Candy was really, really feeling himself. I have never seen someone wave walk in front of someone's face as a taunt, but I was laughing so hard, and it was fun to watch, mainly because I just like watching you lose. Game one was one of his worst. Game one was one of the worst games played of the night. I will get to who played the worst game, and it wasn't you. Last season, these two played very, very close, and this time for at least for game one, they did not. Candy had relentless pressure, and Albino Joe had really shit counters. However, when Candy brought out Young Link game two, and I don't know what his goal was with Young Link. Maybe he just thinks it's fun. Maybe he's trying to like prep it for future use. You made it close. You brought it down to last stock. Got it close to actually winning game two. But again, how much are you going to take out of him going to a character that we've seen fairly rarely from him? Albino Joe, you didn't look like absolute dog shit game two, which is why
Time.
you're set. I didn't get a rail on you harder.
That wave walk thing, man, I don't even understand what's going on. And also, to give the crowd some insider information, I asked him if he wanted to really meme on me, he would pick Young Link. So he just did, and he still beat me with it. So
For those at home, if you want to do the meme walk, the wave walk, you have to hold down on your C stick and then gently rock your controller, the movement stick, back and forth, like angled downward, and you'll slowly like pivot back and forth instead of going to a dash animation or a walk animation. You'll do like this
funny.
pivot glide, and it's funny as hell.
Well, he was pushing me with it even. All right. Time to give yourself some treatment as well. Alpha Mew versus Chai. Go.
Sometimes it's just not worth trying. I went to the Steve Discord. I did 5 hours of Steve practice. I asked questions. I practiced matchups on what my two best characters, how they would do. And sometimes if your opponent's just leagues above you, don't try. Don't give the extra effort when you're just, focus on getting better at the game instead of trying to get better at a matchup. He did the absolute best options to ruin my day. Both Bayonetta and Cloud don't have a lot of great, safe, straight up vertical landing options, and all he did was just play walls to block my approaches. It was very, very, very smart. I kept on trying to play aggressive because I didn't want him to mind too much. But maybe if I just played a little bit more patient, it would have been better. This is probably one of the worst bodyings of the night. Game two only looked close with Bayo because he SD'd at 0%. It's one of those, if you watch it and no one told you the stock count, you're like, yeah, this guy probably got 3 stock twice. It was ugly. I got real lucky on the kills that I got. He abused me, and it wasn't one of those abuses where it doesn't. I suck. I suck fat dick.
All right. We got those two out of the way. Okay, good. All right. Time for the second God slain by Lars here of the league. Lars versus KK. Go.
Welcome to your new Overlord and Baddy Smash, baby. This was the pinnacle of a fat guy fight. Explosive stocks taken, surprisingly long-lasting stocks to even it out. Games looking even regardless of stock count. And the thing that I think works for Lars is that you have more time to make mistakes when you play the heaviest character in the game. And you get better punishes if you play the heaviest character in the game because he kills so early. So as long as you can have a handful of moments of glory, you can definitely put yourself on a spot to win. The one place where he succeeded as well against KK and as well as Duds, as almost all of his kills came from at the ledge or off stage. Bowser has great base knockback on a lot of his moves, so those kill very,
15
very
seconds.
early. KK is a player who admittedly gets nervous in close games, and I can definitely tell that probably is what happened in game 3. He also ruined himself by picking bad music on his counterpick stage game 3.
Time.
Do better.
Oh, you people in the music.
It matters, dude. It matters. It's a spectator sport.
Well, not to Lars. All right. The other 2-0 matchup of the night, Candy Jack versus Alpha Mew. Go.
Gods can bleed, let it be known. Alpha loses a game, but takes a set. It was a battle of patience, a battle of will, and a battle of mid-distance boxing between Link and Steve. Link with his projectiles and strong aerials, and Steve with his cart mix-ups and really just doing a good job catching landings. Game 1, Candy JV2's Alpha with the assistance of an SD. Game 2 on FD was close, but Candy had a devastating SD after a missed bomb recovery stage tech. Game 3 was very close and had a ton of quality defensive boxing, but Alpha heavily utilized Anvil to clutch out edge guard stocks. The commentators wanted to see Anvil put to good use. There they saw it. This is a close one, and if anyone can take Alpha this season, I'd bet my Baddy coin on Candy. I think this is very, very good game. Probably one of the best games of the night.
All right. 10 seconds left there about. Cool. Yeah, Candy Alpha. Yeah, this did show that Alpha Mew is not. I just have to interject right now and just say the Steve download is definitely part of why he's so dominant. It's not just his play style and everything like that. It's definitely a lot. It has a lot to do with the fact that not many people around here know everything about Steve yet. So.
I mean, it helps he's a good player, too. I could tell you all about the Steve matchup, but I still got fucking dumpstered.
Well, I mean, in practice, though, how many Steves have you seen?
I've played against 5.
Okay.
He is the best by far.
Well, that's, I guess, my hot take.
No, it's not wrong. I think if you play against Ooga Booga, that's definitely going to show if you don't know how to play against Steve. I think Ooga Booga will definitely get some weight out of that, too.
Yeah.
But we'll get to him.
We will in about 3 or 4 matches, because the next match that you are going to recap right now is Blaze versus Duds. Go!
Both of these players showed why they're highly regarded. It was a rare Game 3, and the set was really close. In another universe, Duds enters the upcoming week with a 1-2 record, wearing a yellow raincoat, yellow shoes, and holding a lavender umbrella. But instead, he gets together after losing close Game 1 against Blaze. He decided to stick with Falco instead of dicking around on other characters, and he was able to build up damage quickly through combos, and it's something that can help build one's confidence and get their mindset. Credit to Blaze looking great against Duds' Falco and holding it down against a rough combo world matchup. Also, the character is a bad recovery. I can tell you as a Cloud player, bad recovery against Duds' Falco sucks fat wieners, and Blaze was still able to hold it together.
15 seconds.
I expect this to be a match we see again in the top 8, and I think Blaze showed why we regard him so highly.
All right, Chai. I'm ready for this. Albino Joe versus Chai. Go.
I used a demon to exercise my demons. Similar to the Steve, similar to other characters with no matchup experience, Albino Joe, I think it is fair to say you have no idea what to do against Bayonetta.
Never seen one.
One of the worst experiences I have, and a thing you do great to beat me, is you juggle me very, very hard. And Bayonetta is very, very hard to juggle. You did fairly well. You took the first stock and had a very good lead, but as soon as I figured out your projectile pressure and how things worked, I could either witch time your projectiles, or I could heal slide and get free combo starters off your projectiles because it's somewhat laggy. You did put up a good fight. You made me had to adapt a lot, but I did take advantage of 2 things. The one thing I know about you is you don't do very well against mid-range burst options. You didn't do well against my Banjo when last time you played against it because side B comes out quick and goes through your stuff. Bayo also has a side B that brings in that pressure, starts the combos. I get a free 60%. It's a good time. I still never want to face against you in bracket, but I've now evened it up the score. This is one of the 4 upsets I had listed, and I'll get to that later. But use the demon, exercise the demon. I finally took a game off of you after what felt like a long time, even though it was last season. But you knocked me out of the playoffs last season, and I got my revenge.
You got it. I let the time go a little bit over on that one. I wanted to hear it all.
Fair enough.
All right. Now that we got the demons out of the way, time for the thick boys. Blitzor versus Mad Cow. Go.
The one word I thought this entire match was it worth it? there was a lot of SDs to get the cheese kills. But remember when we talked about Mad Cow needing to get warmed up to be good?
Yep.
I think the car is starting to be finding to warm up. He had a lot of great rising aerial pressure to stuff out Ganondorf, a lot of great projectile usage. And when he switched to Sephiroth, there was just more SDs out of Molitzor. And K. Rool, if he does get in on Sephiroth weighs so little, it does a lot of damage to him. Mad Cow, he's 2-1 right now. He's part of the Death Squad that is the 2-1 group. We'll see if he can keep up the consistent growth. But he looked very solid, took a game off of Mad
15.
Cow, and he showed us why he was previously a semifinalist for becoming a top player in Season 3.
True that. Mad Cow is, yeah, the card's warmed up. All right. Now we can talk about the man, the myth, the legend. Actually, both of these people are myths and legends here. Ooga Booga versus Zed. Go.
This one made me big sad because this was the death of Ooga, no, the death of Zed. Our previous two people's champ, leading up to Lars. When we were talking about matchup experience against Steve being sparse and very, very valuable, Ooga was the perfect example of that. Magma up smash hurts. Not knowing when and when not to mash out of cart is very, very important. Otherwise, you're taking a good 25% damage. Ooga heavily flashed that minecart, which is a very, very good neutral option against Ganondorf. So we saw it against Molitzor. We saw it against Zed. It's hard to get past. It really is. And he applied a real gratuitous amount of pressure, and really,
15 seconds.
as any Steve should, made sure to, instead of just BMing, mine that goody goods, get that diamond, and take the W. Ooga beats Zed. Rest in peace, our champion.
Zed's the champion.
He was the people's champ before Lars.
That is true. He was making a comeback that nobody expected, and then Lars, I guess, took the last leg of this route, this relay.
Zed is Division 2's people's champ. Lars is Division 1's people's champ.
Jeez, and we got a Division 2 and Division 1 gatekeeper out of me and Wang too. We got all sorts.
Hold on. I'm gonna ask you this in a little bit. It's another part of the later thing. But I'm gonna ask you we'll get to that. Let's just focus on what we talked about last week for our hot takes.
Sure.
Also, credits to you though. I think you're a little bit better at the speed round. I will get better though.
I mean, I try. I'm a master at rambling,
Yeah, you efficiently ramble.
Oh, shucks.
All right. So here's the hot takes we had. Here's where we were right. Here's where we were wrong. Where we were right. Alpha lost a game. He has not lost a set yet, but as we said before, gods can bleed. Candy took a pretty solid set. He JV2'd him. SDs be damned. But Alpha lost a game. That's where we were right.
Oh yeah. Like we've been, like, every week we've been kind of pushing this narrative that we have the four gods of this Baddy Smash Season 5 in KK, Candy, Alpha Mew, and Duds. And the fact that Lars beat KK and Duds, and then also Alpha Mew was able to kind of get knocked down a peg by Candy, it's showing that there is a lot of leeway in this kind of like set in stone narrative that we've been pushing almost every single week. Like, Alpha Mew can lose games here, and Candy's I mean, man, props to him. I really like that match.
Here is where we were, more where I was wrong, and you were right. We were talking about who's going to make it out of being eliminated from the tournament early. I thought it was going to be Reaver, and Reaver is going to get eliminated, and AGS was going to get eliminated. And you thought Salvo and AGS was going to get eliminated. It sounds really fast when I say it. But yeah, Reaver decided to put his big boy pants on. He decided to mature a bit and just stick with the Marth. And he did not get drowned out. Joe, you called it. You had said you had a lot of respect for Reaver, and he didn't let you down.
Dude's crazy, Chai. Like both you guys, I put into the same category of just find a character, and both you guys are finally doing it. So you might be pushing. As I was just talking about those top 4, you might be pushing those guys and might take a spot or 2 up there.
Oh, you're gonna make me blush.
You're not on camera. You can blush. That's okay.
Here's another part where, sometimes you're right, but you felt like you're wrong because you were right. Like, it doesn't feel like you're really right. You felt like you got lucky when you guessed something.
Maybe.
Yeah, it sounds a little convoluted, but we both predicted that KK would not be one of the 3-0 players. We thought he would slip. We did not think he would slip to Lars. We did not predict that our 2 players exiting out 3-0 in Swiss were going to be Lars and Alpha Mu. If you were saying last week that Lars is going to be the 2 exiting, if that was your prediction, I'm saying right now you're a liar. And I'm saying right now it was quite the spectacle to see. So were we right that KK did not make it? Yes, just not even remotely in the way that we thought.
I always see Blaze as a lot more. I don't know if it was just a fluke last week or what, but Blaze did not look nearly as clean as he normally does. Which is kind of funny because him and Lars played the exact same people, just in reverse order. So, I guess Lars is proven to just kind of be that 5th spot or higher. Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, yeah, it is a little crazy. And Joe, we're moving away from the betting format, but there was one last bet I had. And it was in your set versus Candy Jack. How many times was the B button going to be pressed? I gave an over/under of 125, and you said if it's only a 2-game set, it's going to be under 125. But if it goes to game 3, it's going to be over 125. This is one of the ones we got wrong.
It was only a 2-game set, and I bet it was still over that.
I want you to guess the number.
If I had to guess, I'd say 75 each game sounds about right. So 150, maybe.
Not too off. I'm going to give it a standard deviation of about 10 on how accurate I was because I only counted it once. But in 2 games, the combined 2 of you pressed the B button 183 times.
God.
Palutena has got good specials. The Lynx have good specials. I expected nothing less.
I mean, it's really funny. Like Link, I feel like his kit is supposed to be using those B buttons. Palutena's not necessarily that way. At least not how pros player. But, I'm an anomaly. What can I say?
Yeah. You know what? You're still in this though, so maybe you can rely on pressing those B buttons just a few more times.
Well, do you know who I'm against next week?
Actually, I don't. Who are you up against next week?
Reaver, dude. The guy who I've been praising. If he just selected one character, you've beat everyone.
Okay. I think that's going to be one of the closest games of the week. So don't hold your britches just yet. Well, we will be coming back with the good, the bad, the baddie. We have our matches of the week, and a few hot takes to keep on your mind going into next week. But we'll be right back after this commercial break. Hey you. You want to win in Smash Brothers? You want to be the top player in Baddy Smash? A little secret for you. Play Heavies. This episode's been sponsored by Heavies. Guess what? Most of the players in this league that are still left and have a chance to win the championship, more than half of them play Heavies. If your character does not have 3 digits in their weight stat, why are you playing them? It's nonsense. If you want to win, we got options for you. You like grabs? You got Incineroar and Donkey Kong. You like the shooting booty? You got K-Roll. And you got King Dedede. The options are endless. You like swords? Have you seen Bowser's forward air? That's a big old sword. So come on down to your general Smash character select screen and select a heavy today. Now, back to the episode. Welcome back to the Baddy Cafe. Joe,
Yes. Try.
have you been to the desert recently?
Recently, no, no, I don't think I have.
The segment we have comes is inspired by a movie that takes place in a desert-like area.
Tremors.
That's a pretty good one too, but it instead, and a very familiar whistling noise in the background. Joe, our segment is the good, the bad, and the baddie. I have it spelled baddie with a Y. Is that the proper spelling?
You know, I need to, as a production staff, we should really get on the same page here because I think there's starting to be a war, between the purists and the non-purists. I'm an IE guy, and I'm gonna stick to that.
Well, I'm going with Y, and we'll fight for that. Maybe you can write the script next time and spell it with an IE. All right. The good. Here's what was good. We had, surprisingly, I thought this is going to be one of the chalkiest weeks out of Swiss games. And there were definitely some games that just did not look even. However, there were some pretty good looking upsets. We've mentioned it time and time again, but we had 2 upsets from Lars. This is the shining beacon of hope that shows that any of us can beat the rest of the players. Except maybe Alpha Mu, but the rest of us, we can beat almost anyone. We had, although what's not considered an upset by many people by way of skill, but by way of history, I was able to take a massive bracket demon down. And lastly, Reaver. He managed to survive in a special location. Joe, I need to tell you about something.
Yeah.
There is a 5th dimension beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between the light and shadow, between science and superstition. It lies between the pits of the man's fears and in between Reaver's ears. This is the dimension of imagination and counterpick consternation. It is an area which we call the Reaver Zone. Reaver, his upset was not against Salvo. His upset was against himself. And he beat himself this time.
That's very true. The man needs to settle and try. I do have to. That's poetic, man.
I literally just copped the opening of the Twilight Zone, but fit it for Reaver.
Well, it freaking worked. I felt strangely seduced, Jai.
Nut.
For
All
real,
right.
though, yeah, all those upsets were pretty big. I mean, Lars obviously massive, but Reaver I think is it's more of a kind of like I mean, Reaver and yourself actually are both kind of just feathers in your cap, proving that you have the skills to beat the people that you're supposed to beat. Because Chai, in my mind, you've always been slightly better than me in skill. It's just my play style is able to beat yours, and I figured Head Reaver also was kind of in that group with us, with you and I and a few others, um, which is going to make next week really, really crazy to watch. But Salvo also up there too. So Reaver just kind of proved to himself that he can win. Those upsets were big, and that is the good of the week.
Here's the bad. Because although I exercise my demons, and I've decided to actually stick, I might even just be playing Bayonetta the rest of the season. My Cloud's looking mad crusty, but Bayo's looking not only fun to watch for a lot of people, but just looking good.
Wait.
Where it didn't look good, though, is, we want to preach people getting better, right? When you preach people being more in tune and trying to improve their gameplay. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Sometimes you should not open your mouth about it, though. If you recall last week when you were talking about the hot takes on if Alpha Mu is going to drop a game, I said that I have been grinding the Steve cord, fighting Steves all over the block, and getting some good matchup practice. And I was beating a lot of them. But I had the big old balls and said, I'm going to give Alpha Mu problems. You would have to review the tape, but I'm pretty sure if you take a look, I was perhaps one of the top 3 worst matches to watch in just the utter demolishing, the dissection of Alpha Mu just taking me apart and making me look like a D2 player. If you're going to get good, but don't boast about it out loud, especially if you fail to do so.
Yeah. Discord can only take you so far. I mean, research can only take you so far. Alpha Mu still don't know much about the man, but he's built different, that's for sure.
Lastly, I'll be honest with you, Joe, I've always been bad at betting in Baddy League.
Same.
However, this is the part where I don't understand anymore. Baddy betting is whack. I'm just going to say this now. I don't know if it's because people are betting heavily on themselves. It's hard to review Twitch chat for betting records, but last week, underdogs were remarkably more heavily bet on than people who are actually probably projected to win if you just kind of looked at the head-to-head matchup. If you want a better example, if you can recall, the special notice here was Lars, where both against Duds and KK, Duds had a remarkably higher amount of betting odds. No, not Duds. Lars had a higher amount of betting odds than both of them by it was like 90-10. Not even joking. I don't understand how betting works. I don't get it anymore. Is it mainly just one person betting super high on one player? I mean, that might be it.
No, there's a handful of people throwing down money. I don't know though. I mean, as production staff, we're not really allowed to meddle in the affairs of betting within the league. Compromises integrity or something like that. I think, I don't know. But it's a weird environment.
Yeah, I don't get it. I bet on underdogs all the time, and I have almost no Baddy coin. People bet on Lars by a lot, and he won. I'm flabbergasted, but that's Baddy betting in a nutshell.
Yeah, and hey everyone, make sure you use that the coin, the channel points that you get from betting to cash out those 420s or 6969s. The best way to use those points.
Yeah. Most underrated 420, most overrated lobby music choice. Definitely keep that in mind.
Hell yeah.
All right. So we got a few more segments, Joe. I'm going to keep the hot takes to a minimum because we got a long one to talk about and a little bit of a shorter one. I think it is very accurate to say that you are the gatekeeper of being a great player. And you've earned that by consistently being a good player.
Well, thanks.
The question is, do we keep Wang as the gatekeeper for Division 1? Because it's very debatable that AJS0 or Zed can now fill that role.
There's there's really a lot to take apart this season, in my mind at least, because there's a lot of wacky things going on. Lars being the top of all of our minds from last week. But on top of that, you got people like Mad Cow who take a while to rev up. You got people like Zed who self-proclaim that they do not practice off season and they're just kind of playing for the fun of it. You got people like Wang who he's quote unquote the gatekeeper. If you can play against his playstyle with the roller, then you're good enough to at least adjust to any other player in the league. But those people are getting shuffled around all over the place, in minor ways. So I don't know. There's too much to say on that topic. I think How many people are making the bracket? 16, right?
8.
8. Okay. So
This
there's
is our
just
equivalent of doing a top 16 bracket.
just
doing
top
Swiss.
8. Got it. Okay.
So if I were to say the gatekeeper, though, I think it really depends on what you value in this game.
Yep.
If you value a good neutral game, AJS is your gatekeeper. If you're not good at neutral, you're going to lose to AJS. If you're good at neutral, or at least decent enough, you're going to beat AJS. If you don't know how to punish moves or do simpler things like out of shield options and just do good counterplay, Wang is going to be your gatekeeper. So I think it's one of the most objective things you can ask is who is that gatekeeper. And for me, I think it's actually in terms of just getting more well-rounded, better at this game, I think AJS is the guy to beat if you want to be a top 16.
Yeah, I could see that.
All right. And we're going to have this segment lead into the next segment because you even kind of alluded this too. You alluded to this as well. Albano Joe, there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 players left. I'm going to count again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. There's 2 players left. And only 6 of those are coming through. Half of the players.
Yup.
Who's making top 8? He knew this was coming. Who's going to the playoffs?
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Oh, man. Well, if I had to cut this game by game, oh man, because now it heavily depends on the matchups at this point. Because, for example, if I was just kind of doing a quote unquote power ranking of the remaining people and who I think would make it, that would be different than who is actually going to make it based on all these matchups. Because you have like the matchup, for example, like Molitzor versus Zed.
Immediate quick note. I'm going to interrupt you real quick. I said that Zed got eliminated. I said that prematurely. I forgot that he was actually able to take a game last week on week 1. So Zed, my bad. Mark that as the chime mistake of the week.
No, like it's so strange because Zed is one of those players that he's in my opinion, and I don't think he would take offense to me saying this, but he's kind of the odd man out. He's kind of like on the mountain looking around at all these people like, that are ripped mountain climbers, and he's sitting there as like, scrawny guy without oxygen on what's that mountain in Nepal that everyone climbs? The big one?
Mount Everest?
Yeah, that one. He's like on top of Mount Everest with a bunch of other like mountain climber people without any gear or oxygen or anything like that. He's like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And so I think Molitzor's, he's got a good chance of getting it into the top 8. Out of the remaining people, would he be in the top 8? I don't think so. Or the top 6 of the remaining people, I guess, is the better way to look at it. You really got to look at it match by match. Hot take going through it. KK Candy is probably going to beat Chuchai. Sorry, my bud. But Duds and Mad Cow, I don't freaking know. I'm going to say both of them are probably going to make it. So that's 4. So then 2 more people have to make it. I'm going to say Reaver, which implies that I'm going to lose out. And Cax.
You don't think I'm making it in?
I don't, Chai. I don't.
Here's the thing. You might be onto something. One of my big weaknesses is playing against heavies. This league is full of them.
Yep.
Do I think I'll lose against Candy Jack? Yeah, probably. I've beaten him plenty of times and, playing at his house and whatnot, but I think I'm going to lose to him. But however, I think the best matches of the night are going to be those Division 1, 2 rounds, the final elimination before top 8. Those are going to be the real grinding matches. And if I look at the people who are 1-2 right now, who's I'm probably going to get matched up against, I have to worry about Mullitsor. I don't want to be faced against Mullitsor. I don't want to face against Blaze. Cax I've beaten. I'm not worried about him. Zed I'm not worried about. Albino Joe, I do not want to face you. Please throw and lose to Head Reaver.
You won't face me. There's no double. You don't play people twice.
Oh, thank goodness. Yeah, I do not want Mullitsor nor Blaze. Those are the ones that I think will get me out of top 8. But I think I have a chance. But I think that's how it is for a lot of these players, is that who do you get matched up against? How do you fare going in next week?
Should you lose to Candy, you're likely playing either Uga or whoever loses between Duds and Mad Cow. There is a chance you might play one person that's in the 1-2 side, but I think with your placement, you would be playing the loser of one of the 2-1 matches, actually.
Even if I'm 2-1?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. So you're always matched like closest to what your seating is. So there is going to be one person in those 3 matches that's paired down.
God, it's gonna look really fucking ugly then. 2-2 is gonna be a ball clencher.
2-2 is going to be really fucking tight. And it's funny because, again, aside from some of the top 4, like KK, Candy, Duds, those are the top 4 people along with Alpha Mu that we always been talking about. So remove them, shuffle the rest of the people that are in this, and then you have like a shit show of good matches. Like if you had a round robin between those remaining people, it would be really it'd be entertaining to watch. It'd be really intense. Yeah, but that's I guess my hot take.
Yeah, here's who I have. I have KK, Candy, Duds. I think you and I can agree that is no question.
Yep.
I then think it will be, for the final 3, it is going to be Chai, Mullitsor, and Blaze.
You hold Mullitsor pretty high, man.
He placed top 8 last season. His Dwarf is very good. I think he can do it.
He's been rocking the Sephiroth though, and I mean, you're right. He did take a game off of Reaver. Mad Cow was able to dunk him though with the Croc. So it's I don't know about him. But maybe
you might be right. I think I could probably swap out Mullitsor for Mad Cow.
Yep.
But I think Blaze finally has his moment in the sun. For the longest time, he's truly believed, and he deserves to believe, that he's a top 8 player, and I think he's going to make it.
Blaze or Cax, dude. That matchup between those two is going to look really good.
Do you think, asking the final question to close out the show, do you think that's your match of the week?
Yeah, if I had to pick one match of the week, it'd be in the bottom. It'd be the 1-2s, because people are playing for their livelihood within the playoffs. And I'm not going to pick myself, although I do think my game against Reaver is going to look really close, depending on what he does. But Blaze and Cax, yeah.
Well, I will say, I will take Albino Joe versus Head Reaver. I think that will be the closest one of the night. I think that's going to go to like last stock game 3.
Let's hope.
As I said, I am a big Head Reaver stan. He is a friend. He's a rival. He's his own worst enemy, though. And I think you play consistent enough that you'll be able to take him.
Yeah, that'll be a nail biter. But that's going to be the point of the next week, is nail biting, because all these games have to come to an end in one way or another, and there's going to be a lot of people not in and a lot of people in. Let's hope it's us.
Fingers crossed, my dude. Fingers crossed. Well, hey, this was another episode of the Baddy Cafe. Any last thoughts, Joe?
Nothing I can think of other than everyone who plays against me, please throw your games. Anyone who plays against Chai, please throw your games. We have plot armor, and stay bad.
Have confidence. No confidence. Game over. Next.
Yeah, give us the content creator buffs. Come on, we need it.
Real.
But yeah, thanks again for listening to another episode of the Baddy Cafe. This was Chai.
I was Albino Joe.
Peace.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to the Baddy Cafe.
The intro and outro music was produced by Headreaver, and this is a Baddy Smash production.